Peace and blessings. Welcome to Reborning, honey. Today we are going to mix up some eyelid purple. Eyelid purple actually is dioxazine purple. This is the color that it is. And with making it very sheer gives that beautiful transparent look. The transparent look of that eyelid purple has many functions. It can make every other color that you use better. If you put it under something, it can deepen the color. If you put it over something, it can make it translucent. It is somewhat of a chameleon, and you really do need that in your stash. Now, I had mixed some before. I mixed a small amount before, but I do want to mix a larger amount. So this is the shade of purple that you want. It's going to be a pale color. So we're going to be working to get it that color, and it needs to be sheer. The paints that we use are always sheer. Now what I am going to do, now you can make purple with red and blue. Those two primary colors, you can make purple. Depending on how much you use of one or the other, will give you the varying shades of purple. Now I do have this dioxazine purple, which is the eyelid purple. So I'm going to take it and put it here in my container and begin to mix it around. I will be adding some satin glazing fluid, which is from Golden. And I will also be using some Liquitex acrylic medium matte gel. Those mediums will allow us to have time to work with the product. Also, I will be adding the distilled water and the wetting drops. Using the wetting drops means that you don't have to use quite as much of the distilled water, and you will have a nicer consistency where it's not running like water. Okay, so we're going to mix this up. So here we have it. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to slowly go ahead and add a little bit of this water, the water mixture. Okay, and you see how nice that's turning. It's getting that nice pretty light purple color. I'm going to put in a small amount of the medium, the Liquitex. I'm looking for my little spoon I can use with my Liquitex. I want to scoop out a fair amount because this is a color that we will be, that we do need on a regular basis. So I hope I didn't put too much in there. Sometimes I go heavy with the Liquitex, and that's not necessarily a good thing, especially it, you're paying for everything that you're using. So, you have to be mindful of the items that you're using. I am going right on ahead and mixing this up, getting that beautiful purple. Now I'm going to shake up or mix the satin glaze and put some of that in there, which also slows down this slows down the drying. I don't know, it seems to be clogged, so let me unclog it. Okay, so I'm adding ooh, I just spilled it. I'm adding the glazing gel. Okay, adding a fair amount of the glazing gel. And I just got it all over some of my sponges here. So let's get it off. Not that it would cause not that it would cause an issue, because I do mix the glazing gel and everything, but I didn't want that to happen. So I'm gonna mix, 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 mix. I want a consistency about like milk. Okay. So we've added all of the mediums. We've added the color, and we see that it's pretty thick. So I do want to add the some more of the water mixed with the wetting agent so that we would have ease in spreading this. Okay, so we're just going to mix around. Here we go. Okay, and consistency again is about like milk so that it doesn't run like water, but it's slightly thick. You see, when I stir it around and then I pull it up on the side of the jar, you see it doesn't just run down quickly. It just goes kind of slowly. And that's what you know, somewhat of what you want. So I think I will put a little bit more of the wetting agent to make it just a little bit looser. This is mostly distilled water and the wetting agent. Okay. I might add a little bit more of the purple. Okay. There isn't, you know, it's hard to really say, oh, a particular formula, this amount or that amount that you use. There may be, but um, I I haven't seen it. You know, when I got my paints, I did read the directions, and they have where you can join the different Facebook groups and different things of that nature. Um, I am on Facebook, but I'm not, you know, I'm not really not active on there. So, all right, so we have our beautiful purple color. And what we're going to do is there are areas on honey that I would like to have a bit, you know, a bit darker. And we'll do it as, you know, as an undertone with her. So let me put this out the way just a little bit. And so the areas that we want to deepen up in color on honey, we'll start first with her face. Okay, we make sure we stir the mixture up a little bit darker, not much darker, but just a little bit would be the inner part of the eyes, to have just a little bit there, a little bit in this crease area, okay, a little bit over her lip where we're going to give that mustache effect. So we're going to just pounce, pounce this around. It's not going to be purple on her. It's not going to look purple. I know you may say, I don't want to put purple on my doll. It won't show up as purple. This is a color that's like a chameleon. So it will enhance whatever you, you know, wherever you put it. Well, just kind of okay. And then the other area that I want is a little bit here in the corners of the mouth, uh, the chin area, and right under the lips. Okay, and here as well. Because these are areas that we want some shadow And this color will give a lot of that nice shadow. We also can place some of it in the nostrils. Just tap it in there. Okay. And then we just pounce it because that will give a nice shadow effect. And then we will go ahead and go around and just kind of tap out on there what came on the outside. Okay. We want to go in her ears to create what appears to be depth. She doesn't have much of an ear canal. However, we know that um, there should be that to give the illusion of depth. So we're going to go where we think the ear canal would be, and then we are just going to just pounce that. So I'm going where the ear canal would be and pouncing that around, pouncing that. Okay. And again, I got a little bit on the outside of the ear. I don't want that there, so I'm just taking a little bit of distilled water and removing that. Okay, so we've pounced, we've put the eyelid purple where we think we would like it, and we want to put it on the tops of the ears to give that shadow effect. Again, the top of the ears and around portions of the back of the ear, because she's going to have a rich skin tone as well. She's 20 inches, so she's young, so her color, quote unquote, has not yet fully come in. So you would see a deep color on the ears, the tips of the ears, and some other areas that we are going to highlight. Now, what I also do is around the nose here, I like to give that little bit of color there where that would create a little bit of a shadow. Okay, and then to go inside the creases. Okay, to give a little bit also in there, and then to be able to pounce that out also. Okay, so that's where we, excuse me, would like to have it on her head, and then we are going to work with on her hand and arm. Initially, I went in with powder, some powder, and the crease looks pretty good. Okay, but I do want to go over it with the eyelid purple. I think that will give an even nicer effect when as we continue to build up. So I'm going to go around the knuckles on the fingers, not so much as in the creases, but just deepening it up around there. And then we will go in with the creases later. We're going to go in where we see there's some knuckles. So we're going to go in there. Anywhere that we want to have a little bit of that deep shadow effect, that's what we're going to do. We're going to go in like that. So we're going that we can have that effect everywhere, because these things help to add realism, and you want to work smart rather than hard, and this purple will give you that ability. So now we're going to go around the nail bed area on the skin with that purple, because remember, we want to have that a deeper color as well. So we're going to do that. Hopefully you can see I forgot to put one of my lights on. I'll put it on. It may help a little bit with the visual. It may help a little bit. So we're gonna go around. Gonna go creases here. Okay, around here where there's some. Okay. Then I'm gonna go in the creases of the fingers. So our series with honey may not be as long as the series have been with our baby Cato, but it will be a thorough series. Please let me know what you think about the series, the content that's in the series. What would you like to see? What did you feel you did not need to possibly see? It would be interesting to read those comments. I do understand from the comments that there are quite a few who feel that they are learning something from viewing the series that we have done, and I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful for that. We're going to go around the back of the elbow. We're going to go all around it as well because we want to have that deeper color also. And we're going to pounce around. Right, we're going to pounce as well. And remember, we will be going over the creases more than one time. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to jump to the leg and the foot, and I will do the other two off camera so that we don't have an excessively long video. Okay, so I'm just going to go creases, the foot, okay, the eyelid purple. This particular kit, Honey, she does not have a lot of creasing, so we don't have to focus that much on creasing. I don't crease all the creases anyway because they do get paint while you are painting. Um, and it adds to some of that realism to have some of the creases different shades of shadow. So it adds to that. So, because you have some creases that are deeper than others, you could even see that on your, on your own body. You have some areas that are actually, have more color in a crease area than others. So some of that, we do carry that over to the babies. Okay, we want to go across the knuckles of the toes because we know that's going to have an area that's dark too. And we want to go around the cuticles because that's going to have a dark area as well. Now we did go across it when we first creased honey, but this will definitely enhance that even the more. So I think we will have honey, maybe almost the same complexion as Kato, maybe a little bit lighter, but in that same rich brown tone. I think we will have him in that rich, have honey in a nice rich brown tone as well, but not quite as rich as Kato. So we're going across to create some of that darkness, and we're going underneath, bouncing, bouncing. It is doing a whole lot of rain and wind here. My goodness, it's like it's a whole lot. I'm grateful that I don't have to be out in it. I feel sad for those who have to be in it. Before I retired, I was one that had to be out in the weather regardless. Because by profession, I'm a registered nurse. So, there is no, oh, it's bad weather. You always have to be there because somebody had to do it. So here we go. That's this leg. I'm going to do the other two limbs off camera and I will be right back. Okay, we are back. I creased the limbs on our honey and I'm just letting those dry before we move on to the next section of honey. I would like to invite you to the community tab where I have updates of what is going on the channel and different things. And you can also upload different things in there too. If you happen to be painting a doll, you can upload your work in progress there as well. So I have a few things uploaded in there now that you may enjoy. I also uploaded some shorts regarding some of the other creative things that I do. Some all natural lip gloss that is highly moisturizing, some slightly matte, and some have a little bit of a shimmer. Also, I posted some of the press-on nails that I do create personally and design. So look out for those shorts and go look in the community tab as well. Now we will focus on our honey and the mid face to give us some highlight. We will be using the yellow ochre, a bit of the yellow ochre. So I'm going to make sure to stir this up. And this is going to give, this is going to be under her skin tone so that there you will see that brightness without it being overpowering. Now, when I do the highlight, I like to kind of go across the T-zone and other areas, but definitely like in that T-zone area. Okay, so just kind of go in there a little bit. Then we want the cheeks. Right? And remember, we can do these colors again as, as needed, but we're just starting a little bit right now. And you think about wherever the sun, where would the brightness come on the face? So on your face would be the nose, the chin, part around the mouth a little bit, the forehead area. Like I said, that would be like the T-zone kind of area, a little bit there, right? Okay. So those are some of the areas that we have highlighted on our baby honey. And then we're going to, of course, pounce everything in and around so that we maintain that realism look. There it is. So I'm just pouncing, 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 getting everywhere so that it is blending into the vinyl so that her skin, quote unquote, will look nice and natural. Might have a glow from within. Let's see. A little bit of okay. Now we don't put a whole lot of the yellow because if we do, she would look, she won't look well. She'll look ill, like she has jaundice or something is wrong. So we just put a little bit, and you can see where it looks wet. That's where we have applied the color. Let's see if I can get the light to come on. Okay, I don't know if you can see a little bit better. I don't know. So we went around. So I don't want to see any pooling anywhere. Okay. And this has to dry. And it counts very nicely with her. Okay. Now, I'm thinking, is there anywhere else, because you always want to think while you have the paint out, is there anywhere else that you want to apply this particular color? And I would say I don't believe that I'm going to use this color anywhere else because it is, a bright color, and we will be making her, more of a deep tone. She's going to have a deep complexion, so I don't think that we would need the yellow anywhere else. We're going to go ahead with the skin tone color, this beautiful cafe con leche type color. This is the nutmeg color. So, this is a very nice color, and this is a color that we will put over the entire kit. We're going to start with her limbs first because we just applied the yellow ochre highlight color to her face. So we want to give that the opportunity to dry. So we are going to go with her limbs. Okay. So you see limbs. We're going to go across and I'm going to start with the back of the hand. Okay, because I do want color everywhere. I'm going up close to the nail bed because we want color there. And we're going to go under. We're going to also give a coat under, one coat under on the palm as well. We do want to deepen up the color just a little bit because her skin tone will be a little bit deeper, and we would like the palm to be a complementary color to the skin tone as we begin to go deeper and have highlights and lowlights. So we are pouncing this out quite well. Everywhere we applied it. Now I didn't go over the nails because we went over the nails previously in the other videos, so I don't want the nails to have too much color. I want the nails to look like like a normal natural nail bed. If we need to apply additional color to the nail beds, we can do that. It's easier to add color than to try to correct and take away color. Sometimes you're not able to take it away. So you can see a little bit of the difference in the color. And you can see on our honey, you can see some of the modeling that we did. We did some with red and we did some with blue. You can see the blue is still quite visible, and that's great because that will look like skin tone. That will look like, I'm sorry, that will look like veins. And it will also give a nice variation in her color. It will give a nice variation in her color. So I'm going to switch off to our Swisspers brush. Excuse me, our Swisspers uh, cosmetic wedge. And we will go across. Okay. Everywhere. And we do make sure that we are pouncing the excess from the wedge out onto our paper towel. What helps to create the look of realism is multiple thin coats, drying in between. With air dry paint, you can go up to 8 layers in one day. They need to dry in between, and they dry in a matter of minutes. I usually kind of, time it out to maybe 20 minutes before I would put on more layers. I don't use the whole 8 layers in one day. I may do 3 or 4, and let it dry and then come back the next day, where it's had like 24 hours to dry. That's the way I like to do it. And you can avoid your kit looking muddy that way. Okay, I'm going to do this leg and foot. She has the chompiest legs and feet. She has cankles. Look. Just so cute. Just ever so cute. You see why I said I don't think we need to add any more color to her toenails? Okay, I think they have enough color. If need be, we can add more, but I don't know that we would need any more. So I'm getting right to the nail beds. Since her feet are rather chunky, I'm not using a very small brush. on her feet because she does have a, there's quite a bit of surface to cover. And I'm able to do that effectively with that particular brush that I just put back in the paint. And I'm doing this in sections so that it's not drying too quickly and I can get into every nook and cranny the way I need to get into the nooks and crannies. Again, we're just building up the color. We don't want any pooling. I saw just a little bit of running there on her toe. Happy we saw that. And we get all under the toes, everywhere on the foot, the back of the toes, everywhere we get. Okay. And bounce this out. We just bounce this out. Now we're doing this layer, and the next color that we're going to apply will be deeper. We are going to apply this color on her face and head, strategic places on her face and head, but we will be going with a deeper color after this color, because that's what we do. Each layer builds on the previous layer and the colors complement one another. At least that's what we strive to do, have the colors complement one another. And that's where color theory comes in, where you can kind of look that up a little bit on YouTube or Google a little bit about color theory, because it's actually a huge topic, very deep. And but one of the things that you would like to, in a sense, have a clear understanding is colors need to not have an extreme sharp contrast between them, but there needs to be some contrast, and that everything needs to be blended well. Blend, 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 blend. Like I said, with makeup, you blend, 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 and when you think you've blended enough, well, you blend some more. And so that's the same way with the Reborn kits. You think that you've blended enough, okay, blend some more. And that's what it is, and that's how you get that seamless transition between the colors, between the browns, or whatever the colors are. You get that smooth transition, and that's what you want. You don't really want to see a line of demarcation. You don't want that. You want to just see, like, oh, almost not even where you notice it, but you see it, but you almost like can't put your finger on it. That's how smooth it should be. That's how smooth it should be. So, yeah. All over. She has some cute, chunky legs. And she's only a 20-inch kit. Now, she's a 20-inch kit as well as Kato and even Sonic. However, she seems like she's larger, that she's has a little bit more girth to her. At least her legs are larger, and which makes it nice because then you get to paint and create all of these rolls, and that's a lot of fun when you're making, you're painting and doing the rolls of, and that's a lot of fun. A lot of fun. So we have done 2 of the limbs on camera, and I'm going to do the other 2 off camera, and I'll be back. Okay, we're going to give our honey a skin tone layer of this nutmeg type color. We're going to start at the back of her head and go around. I like to kind of start with the neck area and make sure that I go up behind the ears, the back of the head. She's going to be rooted. I did order some mohair for her. So her hair is coming along with Kato's hair. And then we're pouncing, of course. Pounce, 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 pounce. So, would anybody be interested in seeing me root on camera? Would you like to see it as a live, or would you like to see it as a video? I mean, of course, if it's a live, I can save it anyway, and you can look at it whenever, you're available to, to see it. Because I know so many people are in different time zones, maybe even some are in different countries. So of course, it's different time zones. So you may not be able to be online if I happen to go live. But if I go live, those who can come on, they can come on, and I would save it anyway, and it would be saved, and anyone could then look at it, at their leisure. So that would be nice, I think. Or again, give me your opinion. What would you like? A live video of me rooting, or would you like to just see it as like this, the same way that we're doing now, a video, and I will upload it, later. Remember to always get in the eye area, because you don't want it to be a different color than the rest of the kit, because otherwise it will look funny. It will look like, the kid is blank in that area. So you want to, now like I said, I am going over where we did the yellow highlight. I'm going to go over the lips. I'm not going to go in the mouth. Remember, we did paint the mouth, excuse me, inside the mouth with the red. Okay, so now bouncing, and you're going to see where the yellow, you're still going to be able to see that glow from underneath. You're still going to be able to see that. And if we need to make another layer, we can do that. We can do that. I don't know if we will, but we might. Now what we will do is we're going to go in the ears. Now we have inside the ears and the nose. Remember, we have that eyelid purple. So that's giving some dimension. So we're going to go in the ears with, make sure that we go in with the with this purple, with this nutmeg type color. Okay. And then make sure that we pounce it out so that we don't have any pooling, because pooling is not our friend. Pooling is not our friend. Going to the pool is one thing, but pooling on our kit, no. We do not want that. That's a no, a hard no. So, okay. Now you can maybe see, let's see, I can get in there. You can maybe see still a little bit of the highlight in the mid face, even though we went around with the nutmeg color, you can still see some of the highlight. We're going to now go in with our deeper brown, this chocolatey kind of color. That is a mixture, a custom blend, a mixture of a variety of brown. You know, when you are brown is something that a color that you can make any shade that you would like by what you mix with. Now, what I'm doing now is I am making sure to be mindful of the borders on the fingers. So this is why I'm going in with a smaller brush. Now, if I need to, I will clean that up with a little bit of, just a tiny bit of distilled water or alcohol to get it a little bit thinner if I think it needs to be. Okay, now I see where maybe I would like it to be a little bit thinner on this side. It's going a little bit closer than I would like on going toward the nail. So I'm just gonna just take a little bit and I'm pushing the color in the direction that I want it to go. Okay, great. So that's fine. Blend that again. Okay, and gonna go around again. I'm starting with the top of the fingers and I'm going to the side of the finger and then I am just filling the rest in. I'm doing it this way so I can have control over the paint on the fingers because the way the fingers are finished will add or take away from the appearance of realism. Same with the toes and the lips. uh, you know, actually, the entire kit bit, there's some details that kind of almost make or break the you know the look of realism. So, and again, it depends on how much of realism you would like on your particular kit. You know, with a 20-inch Reborn, a lot, that's a newborn size. So a lot of times they may have a little bit more details than a baby who would be, of course, a toddler or, a 9-month-old baby. You would have a little bit less of the details. Like you wouldn't necessarily have as much modeling. But what I like about modeling is, depending on how it's done, it can create such depth in the color of, of the doll. So I like modeling, and it depends on what color, you know. Now I went a little bit further than I would like, so again, I'm going to clean this up a little bit. Okay. Now the thing is, when you're doing the thumb, the color kind of stops on the thumb somewhere around here because the rest is the palm of the hand. If you look at your hand, you will see where the thumb, begins and ends. So I'm trying to see about. So I'm kind of looking at myself, and I'm just going to use the very tip of the brush. And the way her hand is, it's kind of curved around a little bit. So I'm going that way. Pull a little bit of this paint off. And pull some paint this way. And we're going to do this arm, and then we will do one leg, and that will conclude today's video. It's kind of hard to say how long the videos will be because it depends on what I'm doing and what other step I want to try to get to when doing the videos, because I like to kind of get to a certain point so that it kind of makes sense. And then, I can end the video. So I'm showing you the borders of the hands, the fingers, meeting the palms, because that's something that definitely is important, and it needs to be blended. It shouldn't be like a line. It should be blended. And as we begin to continue to add colors, it will look, it will be look blended. It will. I like to kind of take the sponge and kind of go slightly up and, in and out of it a little bit to give that look of it blending in. Yeah, I think I missed a little bit in here. Oh no. No worries. Because we are also going to put another coat of this color on the baby. So now we see, if you can see some of the border of the hand and the finger. Okay. You can see a little bit, right? You can see a little bit with the fingers also. Now, I want to go around the wrist because I want to also do that carefully also, because that meets into the palm, and we want it to look, to look real and to stop at the level that it should stop. And working in sections is fine, it's fine. You just have to make sure that you blend, that everything is blended and that there aren't any what appear to be lines, because that doesn't look good if there are lines. So, and I'm using this sponge to kind of get in kind of close around these areas, and I can go over with the whispers as well. because the Swiss spurs gives that look of skin as well, right? So we like that. You can see a little bit of a change in the color as we are moving forward. Now I'm using this small brush because I have more control over it, and I see some particles in my paint. One of the things that's important is when you're done painting in the, at the end of your paint day, that that you're dipping your brushes throughout your paint session in the distilled water to kind of get any particles off. And then at the end of your paint session, take your brushes and you can just go over them, like not the brush, not the bristles itself, but everywhere else with a little swipe of alcohol um, on a paper towel to get off any kind of dried uh, particles from the air dry paint. Because with air dry paint, you may see some particles here and there, okay, and they can be embedded and dry into the paint. Air dry, excuse me, heat set, they don't have that issue from what I understand, because even if there's something on their kit, when they put it in the oven, when they bake it, it comes off. It falls to the bottom. So they don't have to, be as concerned about it because it comes off anyway. Whereas with air dry, we have to be very diligent about that. Now, some certain things, because we will be adding some skin texture, um, they kind of disappear anyway, but you want to make sure that you are doing the best that you can to have your kit paint work as seamless as possible. As seamless as possible. That's what you want. Whether you're keeping the doll for yourself, giving it away as a gift or a donation, or you are selling your doll. You want to do the best that you can because that's your name, that's your reputation, and you want to feel good about what it is that you do. And for others to say something nice about the work that you did. So, because I know the first two Reborn dolls that I purchased, I still talk about the artist, which is Kimberly of Kimberly's Cocoon. Even though she's no longer active on YouTube, I still talk about her because the work that she did and the way she ran her channel and her business was so loving and caring and professional. Um, she just is a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful person, just a beautiful person. And I still talk about the lovely work that she did on the kits that I purchased from her. Serenity, which I named Serenity Rose, and Eleanor Ann, which I named Alia Nagosi. Now we're going to go over the leg. I'm going to just kind of outline the feet and the toes, and we may end it there. And try to see if you can see in the camera. I'm trying to move the light a little bit. Maybe you can see it a little bit more. Okay. So you see the baby toe? All right. Now the baby toe, if you see where the nail is, I'm going to go kind of like toward the middle of the nail, and I'm trying to go similar in the shape of the nail, of the toe, and then I'm going around. Okay, I'm kind of going up because I don't want it to be like a line. I'm following. I hope you can see. I hope you can see, but I most definitely need to see. And with the foot kind of goes, the coloring kind of goes up because this part of the heel doesn't have skin tone color. And we're doing the same thing with the great toe. We kind of go around, follow the shape of the foot, and we kind of go up a little bit again because that heel part does not have that same color. Okay, so I'm going to kind of pull the color up, and then I'm going to go ahead and pounce so we can get that kind of like that distinction between there. Now we want the line to feather and to kind of blend, but we want it to be a distinction. Okay. I'm going around the great toe again to just give that bit of an outline. And let's see, I need to do a little tiny bit of cleanup because you want the shape to kind of go like the toe. Okay, let's see if you can see. Can you see a little bit of that? You'll see it better when I do go around the rest of the foot and the leg, the foot and the leg, and then we will end today's video. I want to encourage you to like, comment, subscribe, share. If you're working on a doll yourself, I would love to see what you're doing in the community tab. You can actually post your work in there if you want to, and it would be lovely to see the work that you're doing. And if it's something that you are learning from watching, it would be nice to see the work and to hear what you have to say in the community. And this channel is a safe space. You know, there's no drama. I don't do drama. I don't do drama. Never did, never will. Drama is not my thing. I like peace, tranquility, quiet. I like to encourage people. I like to be supportive of people. And that's what I like to do. I strive to do those things. So I'm just kind of going over with this small brush, going over the foot, not over where I've already painted. Um, what I'm doing is I'm going over, I went over the toes, and uh, the toe next to the pinky toe, I did a little bit of that border because you can see a little bit where that toe would have that border. The rest of the toes are close together, so you would not see that side border. So we're just going over, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to continue painting the rest of the limb and the other limbs off camera, and I'm going to say thank you so much for logging in to see the work that we are doing on our honey, and to like, comment, subscribe, and share. Enjoy your day. Stay safe. Peace and blessings.